This January, Disney Plus is the home to new stories, new journeys, and new beginnings, with Disney's National Treasure Edge of History, as well as Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 for the older kids in your family. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. I'm definitely looking forward to that new National Treasure show for one of our Friday family movie nights to cuddle up on the couch with some popcorn. All these and more streaming this month only on Disney Plus. Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kids Animal Stories. Guess what? Today is one of our mystery episodes, which means I'm gonna lay out some clues about a critter through a story, and it's up to you to follow along those clues and use your brain to solve this mystery. The name of this critter is Anders. Who is Anders and what kind of critter is he? I'm not sure, but let's find out. Let's go! Anders was a new young nymph, recently hatched in a mountain valley of Scandinavia. He didn't like being called a nymph, though, because he was already 20 days old. He was, growing up very fast. Wait a second. 20 days old and that is growing up? How many days old are you? Wow, let's do some math. If you're 6 years old, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Wow, you are a lot older than 20 days old. If you're 6 years old, it means you're over 2,000 days old. Wow, you're a lot older than Anders.
So frustrating how everybody thinks that I'm just a little nymph. I'm getting bigger every single day. Pretty soon I'm gonna be a grown-up and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop me.
Wow, this little nymph, I guess I shouldn't call him little. He was pretty spicy, and he didn't like to be called a nymph because he really wanted to be a grown-up. He had spent the better half of his childhood eating and growing in the long grass. Grass and leaves were his favorite things to eat, which would give him the energy to grow up into the grown-up that he wanted to be. Have you ever felt that way before, that you just wish that you would get bigger and bigger and be a grown-up? Well, as a grown-up, I can tell you that being a kid is just as or way more fun than being a grown-up. But I can remember being young and wishing to be old, just like Anders. But today, he wanted to do something about it.
All right, I'm gonna do something crazy. An adventure! Yes. I'm gonna go on the most amazing adventure throughout the meadow and find something exciting that only grown-ups can do.
You see, this kind of critter, they actually don't grow up in a family. When they're born, they're kind of all on their own. Can you imagine being born and instantly having to figure out life all by yourself? Whoa. That would be pretty hard. I'm glad we have our families to grow up with together. As Anders began his journey through the meadow, it didn't take long before something surprised him along the way.
Oh, it's such a perfect day today. The sun is out and holy smokes, what's on my head?
Anders thought there was a monster on its head, but it was only its antennas.
Whoa. What are these things? They seem to be attached to my head. I've never noticed those things before. There's 2 of them. Oh dear. Am I falling apart, or is that a part of getting bigger? I don't know, but wow. It's kind of like I can taste and wow, I can even smell the flowers. Wow, these 2 pokey things sticking out of my head are pretty helpful.
So as you're taking note of the clues of trying to solve what kind of critter Anders is, you should mark down that they have 2 antennae, which is what this critter uses to smell. As Anders continued his trek with a little more excitement in his step. He was feeling happier, feeling more and more grown up.
Oh, it's so cool to finally get these antennae. I think I've seen grown-ups have these on their heads before. I must be getting even closer to being an awesome grown-up.
The day was really hot, which actually didn't bother him. He liked it being hot, but he was getting very hungry. He spotted a green, delicious leaf up ahead and headed straight for it. Boing, boing, boing.
I love to jump. Wow, it seems like the bigger I get, the longer my legs get, which helps me jump even higher. Whee! Whee!
As he zoomed through the air, I think it caught the attention of a bird nearby who swooped down and almost got him.
Ah! He's trying to eat me!
Anders hid underneath that plant with those big green leaves and didn't move a muscle.
Wow, I gotta be more careful. That was a close one. Whew, that made me hungry. Good thing I have green leaves.
He started to eat the green leaves that he was hiding underneath. His little mouth chowed down on that green leaf and it filled his belly. He was very happy afterwards. After he had finished eating that leaf, he poked his head out to make sure that the bird was gone.
All right, it looks like that bird is nowhere to be seen. I must have scared him away because No, I probably didn't scare him away. He probably just forgot about me. But anyway, holy smokes, that's a big hill over there.
Off in the distance, Anders saw a giant grassy hill that was pretty tall and looked like a perfect adventure for an almost grown-up critter.
Yep, that's it. That is the ticket that I've been waiting for my entire life. Once I reach the top of that hill, I will be a grown-up for sure.
He started jumping towards the hill, and he felt something inside of him that he had never felt before.
This is the best day of my life. Wow, I'm a pretty amazing singer. I didn't know I could sing, and I just want to keep singing. This is the best day of my life. There is nothing that I cannot do.
Anders has just discovered something amazing about this kind of critter, that they like to sing. You see, these critters have tiny little wings on their backs, not made for flying, but actually for creating a sound to sing and call to others. It's Anders that has just done this for the very first time, and he's pretty excited about it. As Anders continued his journey towards that very tall grassy hill, he was confused because he heard a sound in the distance.
Hello over there, who is it? What in the world was that? Are they singing with me? Like maybe we can make a band. Or wait a second. Could be a trick. Could be a trap. What if it's that bird again?
Anders was very confused because off in the distance, he heard another voice. Somebody else singing. Was it a friend? An enemy? Another nymph? Or maybe it's a bird trying to trap him so he can eat him and... Oh dear. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens on the next episode of Kids Animal Stories. Great job! You listened all the way to the end. Do you think Anders is going to make it all the way up to that grassy hill? Or is he going to get eaten? Not sure. But have you been paying attention to those clues? Let's recap. This critter has 2 antennae on the top of his head. It seems like he's a good singer or has those wings on his back that can make that sound. Oh, and he's a good jumper. Do you have any guesses of what critter this is? I'm gonna have to keep thinking. And I hope you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye! This January, Disney Plus is the home to new stories, new journeys, and new beginnings, with Disney's National Treasure Edge of History, as well as Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 for the older kids in your family. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. I'm definitely looking forward to that new National Treasure show for one of our Friday family movie nights to cuddle up on the couch with some popcorn. All these and more streaming this month only on Disney Plus.